sunset tonight. I don't have a job to find, and if I went tonight, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wednesday night is truck night in the Sim500. It's on tonight's races. Jeff McConaughey and Joe White.
Hi, good evening, race fans, and welcome. We're here at Martinsville, the short track here tonight. Called multiple different names here: the paper clip, a conveyor belt of sorts, and but either way, it is a short track and going to be very exciting. And Jeff, we're getting close to crowning a champ here in the Kickass Beef Jerky Truck Series. It's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. It's been a long season. These guys have fought hard, but man, it's going to be a great race here tonight. 200 miles at the paperclip. Trey Edson on the pole. I'm excited for this race.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm stoked to see what's going to happen here tonight. And like I say, 200 laps. These guys could get out here and kill each other, or they could get out here and, do okay, so to speak. We'll just have to see which one it is for them. And here we go, getting set, man, tonight. Well, I tell you, Martinsville, it's short track. There's, I don't know, there's a lot of things to it that brakes, tires. I mean, there's some things we're gonna have to really talk. We'll talk about throughout the race here, and it's different than like a 1.5 mile that we're used to seeing. Still there? Yo, Jeff. Jeff.
Hello?
Hey, did I get you?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, man. I can hear you.
There's always something. There's always something.
There's always something, man. Hey, you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes, like you just said, there's always something, man, going on. Tech stuff and whatnot. Hey, I have it on my end, and who knows, man? It's one of them deals. Well, I tell you what, Martinsville getting set here to go. Trey Edson out front. We're going to get you the lowdown on what the points look like here soon as the race gets on. And pace trucks in. You got Tommy Ryan, Trey Edson. Tommy Ryan's been another one up here all night, or throughout the chase, excuse me. And you've got Daniel Falkenham there, Brian Fallen, looking good. Chad Cole, green flag flies. Man, we're racing here.
Here we go. And like I was saying earlier, I guess it wasn't transmitting and going through or anything, but what I was saying is Martinsville is very unique in how you approach it from a driver's perspective. It's unique in how you approach the track, how you are planning to work with and drive around the other competitors. This place requires a lot of aggression. We're going to see Trey Edson cut up in front there of Tommy Ryan and then throw it back down in front of Daniel Falkenham. Defend that bottom. He wants to keep those guys behind him side by side and slow them both down and be able to pull away a little bit here as he now leads the first lap and trying to lead the first few, I would say.
Most of the time in this track tends to be a one groove style, and usually it favors the inside lane for the most part. As you can see there, Tress, now they've tried to repay, they tried to make it a multi-groove, and I think you can do it maybe for a little bit, but you're going to see most of the time bump and run's going to come in. A very hard place to pass, so unless you get it done early and aggressive, like you said, it's going to be a tough one here.
For sure, especially when you're Trey Edson and you have Daniel Falkenham on your back bumper. That doesn't make the night any easier. That makes the night a whole lot more difficult, actually. Tommy Ryan back there in third has really picked it up and found his speed these past few weeks. But Trey Edson still out front, still leading the way. 5 laps in so far of 200.
Absolutely. Here we go. We're getting set here tonight. Like you said, Martinsville Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Truck Series here. And folks, appreciate everybody tuning in. And hopefully the YouTube side's doing okay. I know YouTube was down there for a little bit. If not, we're over here on the Facebook side of OSR Network. Appreciate it. Everybody hit those likes and shares out there in the league. But appreciate it. You see Daniel Falkenham, he's trying to work over Trey Edson. But again, we go back to the fact of a very hard place to pass here. Just a tough track to get around another competitor once they get out there in front like they are.
Yeah, once you get to the inside line, you don't want to give it up. You want to stay there. You're not going to be making too many passes here on the outside, especially on the short run here at Martinsville, as we are about to complete lap number 7 here for Trey Edson, still in the lead. He's going to defend the bottom, and you're going to look at his lap times and just see how consistent it is. He's running within a 10th of all of his laps every single time. He hits his marks, does what he needs to do, and hugs that inside line. Wants to get as close to that curb as you can without touching it, because if you touch it, it's going to throw the truck around, but if you can get right up close to it, you will be fine.
That's crazy. You look at the whole field here, 23 drivers, and you look at the last lap time. I mean, there's not even it's not even a half second, separating the whole entire field. You're only talking about maybe 3/10 to 4/10 separating it. So, yeah, true, after a while, they'll spread out, but what that tells you is again, you're not going to see anybody come through the field until We always bring this up, and I love it about the league here, the 3-tire limit until you start seeing later on. And again, if it goes green flag, 3 tires are well enough. If we start having some caution, that's where it runs into a problem. But when you start seeing guys on new tires, old tires, then you'll start seeing some guys come through the field. But that's where sometimes maybe some trouble and cautions can fly.
For sure. Martinsville is one of the toughest tracks to pass at. And when you throw new tires versus old tires into the mix, it really mixes things up. We also have to keep in mind with Martinsville, this track doesn't wear down tires too much, but it does heat them up. When you're on the brakes, you are heating up those front tires, especially the front right. The hotter the front right is, the higher the tire pressure inside of it, and then that makes that thing tight as can be on corner entry. It doesn't want to turn. You have to use more brake to get the thing slowed down, and then you're using more brake, heats up the tires even more, and then it gets even tighter, and it just sort of snowballs down the way there. And you have to be very, very careful. Not so much managing tire wear, but managing tire temperatures, keeping as little strain as possible on those tires to keep the temperatures cool.
There you go. Like I said, looking pretty good so far. Everybody's single file, being very patient if they can. Right now, looking good. And I'm gonna try to get y'all an update here on what the point standings look like so far out there. No Brian Macklin. Now, Macklin last week did what he needed to do to keep his hopes alive in a championship, and so he went from disaster almost a couple of weeks ago to last week doing very well. A couple guys in the pits, but still up front, Daniel Falkenham's trying to work over Trey Edson.
Falkingham has been right on that back bumper of the 20 car at Trey Edson, 20 truck at Trey Edson, but he hasn't been able to make a move. He hasn't been able to stick his nose in, make a run for the lead. It's just sort of single file here, everyone running right behind the other. You got Trey Edson, Daniel Falkingham, followed by Tommy Ryan, Chad Cole, then Brian Fallon, and then you have Brian Macklin back there in 6th place. He's going to want to work his way up. He's got to go up and battle with Trey and Daniel. But at the same time, he's sort of comfortable where he is. Justin Fuller is the next chase driver. He's all the way back in 13th, with Chad Coleman sitting right behind him in 14th. So they've got plenty of, wow, a lot of rear-end damage. A lot of rear-end damage for Chad Coleman.
Chad Coleman. All right, we'll check him out. And Chad Coleman, one of the chase drivers. Now, I'm going to make a correction on what I said. I said Brian Macklin. Macklin had a very good run going on. I remember correctly, he got caught up in a wreck. He is 18 points out right now. The top 6 driver, Ryan Howard, was the one who really benefited there. Actually winning the race last week, and putting himself in to the next round, the final 4, obviously going to be racing for a championship. So that leaves Justin Fuller, Trey Edson, Daniel Falkenham, Chad Coleman, and Brian Macklin. And 4 of those drivers are going to go. Right now, Fuller is 15 points plus up. Edson 1 point behind him, 14 points plus. And then you've got Falkenham right there, 8 plus 8. But you've got Coleman, minus 8. So I think that's probably going to be, I don't know how they're calculating this right off. Let's see if I can go to the series standings, but I'm looking at a chart that they've got here. Either way, Macklin is minus 18 back. And he's going to have to work. Pretty much it's a win-in deal for Macklin here, I think, so to speak. And the same, I think, for Coleman. Unless, again, Falkenham has a very bad race. I think Fuller and Edson pretty much at this point tonight, with Justin Fuller right now, sitting in about 11th. And where's what was it? Trey Edson. Trey Edson's leading it right now. With those guys, go back to my chart here. With those 2 right there, and obviously if Trey Edson pulls off the win, he automatically goes in. It's going to be close with Fuller and Falkenham. I think Falkenham's the one that's in the hot seat a little bit, but again, anything can happen in racing. Macklin needs to win to make it. So remember, after tonight, we got one more race. That's Phoenix, Jeff. 4 drivers will battle for a championship here in the Kickass Beef Jerky Truck Series. Very important night here at Martinsville.
Very important night, very stressful night for a lot of these drivers. Trey Edson, Daniel Falkingham, Brian Macklin. These guys are all fighting. None of them are locked in. No guarantees have been made. If they get wrecked out or get wrapped up in a bad wreck, they're done. That's the whole season thrown away because of one bad race. These guys are certainly stressed out, and I think Trey Edson's a little happier now that he's got a little bit of breathing room back to Daniel Falkingham. He's pulling away by about 0.02 a lap, which doesn't sound like much, but when laps are about 20 seconds long here, that adds up over time.
It does. You see, Justin Fuller right there just about. I appreciate that guy. Else said YouTube checking in, working well. Good deal. I know it was down for a little bit, so I was wondering. Obviously, we're live over there on the the YouTube side of things. Wow, watch this battle with Justin Fuller there with Sean Casto. And again, I've always advocated for guys, even if you're not in the chase, race them hard. It doesn't matter. But see, Justin Fuller being very aggressive. Got to at this track. One thing I'm noticing right there too, we don't see a lot of. You see those rotors? Got a good shot of them. One of the things here, boy, good aggressive move there by EJ. But one of the things here, Jeff, you and I know, and obviously with the setups that you do there to make them set up shop, you brake fade, brake bios, you see it right there, good shot of just how those things are glowing. This is something these guys don't feel a lot on a 1.5 mile track. Road courses, short tracks, yes. Over the course of time, you'll have to start backing those turns up of when you mash the brakes because it just won't stop like it used to.
Exactly. This track, Martinsville, you think, oh, it's a half mile, it's easy, it's a little short track, it's pretty simple to run. That is not the case. This is one of the most difficult tracks on the service, and that's coming from someone who races short tracks all the time. I mean, I run these things every day of my life, and man, Martinsville is by far one of the most difficult tracks, period. Put it up against any other track, it is one of the most technical. It requires so much driver skill to get around here. It is incredibly difficult to work your way around here because there's so much you need to change. You are constantly adjusting your brake bias. You're seeing what works and what doesn't. It looks like Daniel Falkingham found something that worked. Either Daniel found something that worked, or just as likely, Trey Edson is finding something that is not working and is trying to fix that and find something that will work again. He's actually about 1.5 tenths off of where he was running the last time we checked in with him. Maybe something is going wrong for Trey Edson. He might have gone the wrong way on a brake bias adjustment, or Daniel Falkingham just found an adjustment that worked really, really well. Maybe dialed the brake bias back a little bit, and he's able to enter that corner a lot more aggressively than Trey Edson is.
Well, we're 32 laps into here to 200. You can see right now the truck's getting a little wiggly coming off the turns. It's another thing. When I practiced this place, when I raced it, I did probably 500-700 laps around here. And the only thing that I was concentrating on, I mean, obviously trying to get around the place, but corner entry with my brakes. And I was trying to get it to where pressure on my brakes, to where the truck wouldn't chatter. And when I hit the brakes, it wasn't too much. It would be a smooth transition, because in iRacing, a lot of people don't understand it. Yeah, the brake fade is a thing, but also the chatter. You can feel the truck going when you hit the brake, almost like an anti-lock brake system, so to speak, where it's trying to, it's basically chattering the tires. And you want to try to get that out of it. And I know a lot of guys, they practice, and I practiced it huge. You see Daniel Falkingham right there put pressure on the back end of Trey Edson. So, yellow's out. Sean Casto, we were watching him earlier. He was falling back there a little bit. He was having a little trouble, and he looks like he's battling right there with, looks like Chad Coleman. Look at our replay here right fast here, Jeb. See what we got. He's on the outside there. He was falling off the pace there. He's in at number 52. Looks like an S2, but it's 52. Got a feeling maybe just got a little contact, just a little bit. Don't take much here. That's the equivalent of a small bump and run right there.
A little bit of a bump and run, but I'll tell you what, coming down pit road is pretty much everyone except Tyler Dalton. He stayed out. But I think that was the right call. Come down, take some tires. It's a little bit earlier. A little bit early. Pretty much you're shooting for every 50 laps you come down and take tires. But I think you can get away with it at lap 36. As Tommy Ryan takes 2, that's going to loosen the truck way up. Daniel Falkingham and the 8 car of Randy Yoakum both get around Trey Edson. He's going to restart in 5th.
Yoakum takes 2 also. Falkingham 4, Edson's 4, Macklin's 4. Pretty much everybody behind them's 4. Ryan Howard takes 2, which Howard, being into the Final Four, pretty much can experiment this race, you know, kind of see what he's got. So it's, yeah, I don't like saying it, but kind of just a free race on his end. Now, with the 2 tires, you're right, it will free that truck up. And that's another thing here at Martinsville. A lot of times, it can get a little pushy going into turns, but coming off the turns, it can get a little bit loose. It's kind of the opposite of what we normally say, you know, loose in, tight off. It's kind of tight in, loose off here. You know, it all depends on how much throttle you give, especially with this setup. You know, if you start making your own setups and stuff, it's a total different ballgame. But with this setup, it's just, and that's what makes this track unique, as opposed to like any of the others. You know, things like that we talk about. You have to adjust for that. And you have to adjust your driving style for it also.
Absolutely. That's the thing. When you're in one of these fixed setup series, you have to be on top of your game, and it's all about adjusting yourself to the setup. Everyone's running the exact same thing, the same truck, same everything. It's all about who's the best driver here and can make it work for them.
Well, here we go in the caution here. Should be the first time here tonight. Now, normally they run 100% fuel. Fuel won't be the factor, I think, going on to this, as they could run a very, very long time. Pretty much probably just about half of the stretch here on a full tank of fuel, almost the whole thing. But tires would be the biggest thing, and most guys opt in here, like we said, a little bit early. But hey, 30-some laps, you've got an idea what your truck feels like, and kind of a good long green flag run. Now let's see if we can get a little longer green flag run here and go. So wasn't bad there. 30-some laps the first outing. And said here to go back green to Martinsville here. Last race of the chase before we go to the last race of the season and crown a champion here at the Kickass Beef Jerky Truck Series. The green flag flies, and man, Tyler Dalton's got company there with the old Tommy Ryan. Why did Tyler take that outside like that? Oh,
That's strange.
yeah, normally a leader would take that inside lane. Huh.
Yeah, but he's just gotten run over. He's stuck up on the outside. He's the top of 3 now. He's in trouble back there.
He is, and that is strange, but here comes Daniel Falkenham, and this is pretty much 2 versus 4, and we can already see kind of those 4 tires rule just a little bit there. You know, I'm not going to say the 2 tires is bad, but man, you can see Tommy Ryan's truck just not rotating in the turn. So maybe that's what he was trying to fix, you know, going into this one. That thing was just feeling so tight to him. And you would think the 2 tires would have loosened it up, but it just doesn't look like it did. Look like it made it worse.
Yeah, it really looks like that thing is not turning, and I think that goes back to the tire wear. He's got hot left side tires but cold right side tires, and it's just throwing the balance of that truck way off of where it needs to be. It's just not performing the way he needs it to.
No, it's not. Up front, you got Daniel Falkenham leading. He would love to put in victory lane, seal his deal to the Final Four here, get it done. Trey Etson's right there behind him. Brian Macklin, top 3 guys, all chase contenders. Remember, Brian Macklin pretty much, it's a win here tonight. He really can't just sit back there and run in 3rd and hope to get in. Right now, with Falkenham running how he is, now if Falkenham was to win, that might change up a lot. You know, again, I don't know all the calculations and bonus points and all that jargon and stuff, but it could change a little bit. But I still say Brian Macklin is in a must-win situation tonight in order to make it to that Final Four. Good battle going on here around about 4th, 5th, man. Brian falling, not giving Justin Fuller any room. Oh, Fallon gets clipped just a little bit by Cherry Cole. What a good save.
Very good save back there, and the caution's out.
Oh, Scott Stencil, man, I tell you what, he's had some good runs here as of late. Man, let's see what happened to him. Going to replay here. Right there with the 12, and again, you know, you get up there, everybody has different break points. At this track, closing rate a lot of time, and it is really close. At 24 there, Scott. And Had one of his best finishes several weeks ago. Finished in, oh, he just looked like that's a brake issue right there. Pretty much a lot of what brake bias in that thing. I'm not sure. Maybe forward brake bias. Always get them confused, rear or forward. Maybe you set them up, man. You're the expert.
Say that one more time.
I said normally that one looked like pretty much a brake bias issue right there.
Right, with brake bias, what that does is control how much braking force is on the front versus the rear tires. If you increase it, you're putting more brake towards the front. It will tighten the car when you're on the brakes. If you move it back, it's going to loosen the car. So if you move it too far back, you get on the brakes and the truck will just spin around because there's so much rear brake in the thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So one of the caution here, like I said, that's one of the things there you just got to watch out for, and that's the biggest thing you'll see these guys mess with is brake bias, turning radius, stuff like that. And then obviously if you've got settings with your wheel pedals, you definitely want to check it out. But hey folks, speaking of checking it out, check out that code up there in the top corner, kickassbeefjerky.com. Check it out. It's put in the Sim500 promo code, get 19% off your order. Christmas time's coming up. I know everybody wants to send out some gifts, so awesome there. And heck, I guess even send you some out for Thanksgiving too. Why not? I don't know if they make any turkey beef jerky, but that would be what would that be? Turkey jerky?
Yeah, probably turkey jerky, I would call it. But
It definitely wouldn't be beef jerky.
no, you can't call it beef jerky. I'd say turkey jerky. They roll
Turkey
off the
jerky.
tongue quite well.
I got you know what? That would be somebody out there in the chat. Tell me if that's a thing, Jeff. Is that a thing? Is that actually is? Are they actually turkey jerky? I mean, really, are they?
It's gotta be. You can smoke
I don't know.
it. Yeah.
I've never really. You know what? That's just one of those. In 40-some years of being alive, I've just never really thought about that. It's a no-brainer, beef jerky. But that's why we got good.
It's the thing. Jack Link sells it.
Wow.
So,
Okay. All right.
yeah. Oh yeah. Is turkey jerky good for you?
I learned something new tonight. I learned something new there. Hey, you learn something every day is what they said. So there you go, folks. We all learned something. And well, I don't know if Kickass Beef Jerky sells it or not, but if they do, either way, if you would rather have beef jerky during Thanksgiving, get you some. And like I said again, just use the promo code. Would appreciate the guys here at Sim500. It's been an awesome season. We're going to conclude it off next week here, crowning the champ. And, it's been an up and down time, a trying time for a lot here this year. 2020 has just been one of these years. I know a lot of people's probably wanting to race, but however you look at it, we've always had some racing, and it's been some good, bright spots of racing come out of it, and some bad spots here and there. So here we go, getting set. Green flag out, and I know Daniel or Trey, one of those top drivers up there, Justin Fuller and Brian Mackel, all four of those guys, one of those guys would love to win tonight and just seal it in and say, look, all right, I've got to concentrate on Phoenix next week.
Edson gets himself clear. Daniel Falkingham now right in front of him. Let's see how they're going to end up battling. Daniel Falkingham was very nice, very patient. And we'll see if he's got, if Trey Edson's going to be the same way towards him. But don't look now, because Justin Fuller, he's got a little bit of damage on that truck. The truck's a little bit beat up, but that is sort of par for the course here at Martinsville, especially when you're driving all the way up from 15th to 3rd. But he's here. Justin Fuller is looking to throw his hat in the ring for this race.
And you're right, you just spoke of something right there. Pretty much this track, you're not going to come out here usually with a pristine style car, truck, or anything that comes here, but you can get away with that. I mean, obviously if that motor's still running, you can get away with little crinkles here and there on the fender and still be fast and competitive. You see a good battle here going on around about the 5th, 6th place. Nick Silver there and Fallen, they're definitely been side by side, door to door, and on back behind him, Chad Coleman. So your top four drivers right now trying to get away and race this thing out. Up front is Daniel Falkenham's loving what he's seeing. He's got Trey Edson back there, Justin Fuller. But what I'm seeing right now is on these restarts here, Jeff, you pretty much have to be aggressive. And right there, the 4. That is Chad Coleman. We saw him go around. Ouch. Looks
Doesn't
like the
take
number
much.
4 got in him. Gillenwater just got in the back end of him.
Yeah, it was just a tiny, tiny touch.
And that's just a racing incident right there. You just saw that there. I mean, a difference in braking points. It's a closing rate so much here. You've got the passing is so hard. It's again, we go back to it being a one groove track. I know in the past people said, "Oh, you can race up high." I've still not seen it even with the repave here. I mean, even in real life, I've still not seen them be able to utilize the high lane unless you're beating and banging each other's fenders off or doors off of each other. You know, if it's a side by side and they're both equal trucks or cars, usually that inside lane eventually is going to get the outside. And I hate to say it, it's kind of always been that way here. Even the old way of Martinsville before the repave and all. So I get what they tried to do, put a little, I guess, the aggressive banking, or what do they call that, aggressive style banking into it, you know, or the repave, and it still just doesn't work. I mean, but that's what makes this place unique, you know. You've got to get that advantage up front.
You got that right, and like you said, the inside line 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100 is going to prevail. You're going to have the advantage by running the inside, but Justin Fuller's going to throw his hat in the mix, and he's going to make something happen here.
Oh yeah.
I'm really impressed that he's driven up from 15th to 3rd in 60 laps, sorry. He's here to make something happen, and he's got a bad habit of making things happen. And man, these drivers around him, they know when he's up there, he's going to pull a move, he's going to do something, going to do whatever it takes to get himself out to the lead. And that's what he's here to do. He's here to race, and he's here to win.
And you know what, we always say it's got one speed wide open. We've seen him be a little conservative at times. Tonight it looks like he's trying to be aggressive because obviously, you know, you win and you end. Now, at the end of this one, to me, if I was him and I see that I'm not going to win, he's got a cushion of points coming in that where if he was to finish this race where he's at right now, he's going to be in the Final Four. Okay, I mean, unless just something drastic happens, because Trey Edson, again, let me go back on my chart here. Trey Edson right now is behind Fuller now they're separated by 1 point, but again, well, let me retract my statement because I didn't realize that close. Justin Fuller really needs to leapfrog Edson. Okay, so he needs to be reversed, and that's probably why he's putting pressure on Edson. So, as of right now, if it was to end, no, Justin Fuller would not make the Final Four unless bonus points are involved. I'm just going off of what would be position-wise, Cedra, and all that. You know, don't know about the bonus points, don't know about it, but just by knowing, we know Ryan Howard, he's already in. But if Daniel Falkenham wins, who is sitting 4th right now, he would automatically be in. Fuller sits 2nd, but only 1 point back is Trey Edson. So that's a position. Now, if it's a tie, you got to go back to who's won the most, and then I'm going to have to bring up a whole new chart then. You know, wins and stuff. So let's see. Trey Edson has 5 wins, and Justin Fuller has 3. So yeah, Justin Fuller, I'm gonna go on a limb. And again, Jeff, you know, we never know to the end of this one. Is he needs to be aggressive and get around Edson. I think he understands that, or win this race one. So I hope all that made sense for you and everybody else out there.
I mean, I followed along, but yeah, you're right. This is going to be a crazy battle to the end. You have 3 of the strongest drivers out front with Brian Macklin, a very close 4th place right behind him. But when you look back at the season this year, it's been nothing but Daniel Falkenham, Trey Edson, Justin Fuller. Those 3 have been phenomenal, second to none out there. And they're all out there battling, and they're pulling away from the guys behind them. So this is really going to come down to a great race at the end, but there's a caution.
Thomas O'Leary around back there in the back, just spun it around there. And you know, going back to what we're talking about here, the top 4 drivers definitely pretty much as it sits right now, if Daniel Falkenham wins this thing, and I think he's feeling pretty much Daniel Falkenham and Brian Macklin, I think, are in a must-win. Due to the fact of where they're at in points. I really feel that. So, you know, Macklin and Falkenham are in a must-win. I think Edson and Fuller, where they're sitting at right now, if they was to... Now, if Edson was to win, Fuller would be like, okay, great, because he's going to... And even if Falkenham, see, you can flip this around. You got so many scenarios that can be played out here. And I like this kind of like dominoes and chess. If Edson wins, he's in. And Falkenham finishes second, Justin Fuller's going to be in by virtue of points because he has enough points cushion over Falkenham. Again, this doesn't include bonus points, folks, so this is all unofficial. Don't shoot the guy here and don't know what. Yep. But I'm just going off of positions and whatnot. So, as it sits right now, if it was to end, and granted, no penalty points, no bonus points, anything like that, Fuller wouldn't make it. Because if it came out as a tie between him and Trey Edson, obviously tie goes to the most winners. The most winner is going to be Trey Edson this season with 5-3. But let's say Trey Edson wins, Falkenham sits in second. Justin Fuller should make it in by points alone then. So, Jeff, man, you see where the math can get so confusing.
Trust me, I'm used to confusing math, and that's why I sort of stay out of these points battles. You know, we'll find out at the end who makes it.
We will. It's good conversation to look at, and that's why I go back to pretty much Macklin and Fuller are almost pretty much in a must-win situation. Because you never really want to, sit and say, well, hey, I'm going to make it in on points. Because even with Justin Fuller right now where he's at, he's got that Trey Edson right there. So you would think with Justin Fuller with his points, he'd be like, oh, yeah, he can make it in. No, not really. He still could get knocked out of the Final Four. And I think he knows that. He's got a fast truck. That's why he's drove it through the field like he has and being very aggressive. Macklin, though, back there, he's his last 2 races, we know he's got the speed, we know he's got the truck to get it done, and he's got the talent. Just some bad luck has been there. Talladega and the Rock just did not serve him. I mean, he had an awesome truck at Rockingham, and then at the end just got caught up in a mess that really hurt him. If he would have finished well at the Rock, then he would have came in here a lot better off than what it was. And it looked like he was going to win that race there a couple times. So this was far from over, but we like bringing that little bit of drama, you never know. And then you don't want to count out, Chad Coleman. He's still in this thing. He's still back there. No, he's way off the pace in the back, but he's there too.
Absolutely. And right up front, Daniel Falkenham wisely chooses the inside. He spins the tires. He goes around.
And man, I'm going to tell you what. Well, folks, just forget everything that I just talked about in the last 30 minutes.
Gone. All out the window.
All out the window, what I just said. Let's go back on Daniel Falkenham now. Again, we still got a long way to go. But everything that I was just talking about, just like that in a snap of a second, changes. Let's watch this restart here. And I think you're right. He just spun those tires on the restart.
No, he didn't spin the tires. If you go and look at his
we're going to watch it here. Yeah, we're going to watch it here. He got
Watch
going.
his in-car, though.
What happened? He just
It wouldn't go into gear. The car just refused to go into gear, so it got stuck in neutral. And when he was slamming on the accelerator, it was just revving the engine. He wasn't going anywhere.
Oh, my God. You know what? And I know, man, right there, he's probably kicking himself. But, again, that's nothing Justin Fuller could have done. Definitely nothing he could have done on that one. Nowhere to go. Hopefully he doesn't have too much damage on the front of that truck. He did pop the back of him. It doesn't look too bad, though, from this end. But I'm going to tell you what this does. Again, this changes it up. Because Macklin's still in that position where he's got to win. Whether Trey Edson wins or not, Macklin's got to win. Okay. Well, that didn't make no sense. But anyways, you would have said, whatever Trey Edson does, Brian Macklin's got to win. He cannot get into the points title where he's sitting at right now. There's just no way. Even Daniel Falkenham going on pit road, you know he's going to come back out. But let's see, there's 23 cars. Falkenham right now on pit road. He's back in 18th. Macklin's in second. But look at this one more time. Go to the point standings. That's I don't know how that chart reads there. Okay, Macklin is 10 points behind Coleman. Coleman is 8 points behind Falkenham. So he is 18 points behind Daniel Falkenham. Is that right? That sound right? Jeff?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Okay. So that's 18 positions on the track. As of right now, he's got 18 positions on the track. Brian might not be out of it. Daniel's going to have to keep going. So this makes it interesting for the race here. I said before, Brian Macklin was pretty much in a must-win. I'm still going to stick to that. I'm still going to stick to he pretty much is in a must-win. Because again, you don't want to, realize. Because right now, Daniel Falkenham's sitting in 19th spot. Macklin is in second, so no, he is not in the 18-point range. He's actually 17, so he would be 1 point off. And Daniel Falkenham, again, no bonus points, et cetera. So, man, I'm going to tell you what. Did you think, man, it was going to come down to this close? It is crazy here tonight.
It really is crazy. I'm just trying to figure this all out here and follow along. I think Daniel Falkenham does have engine damage. And it's not going to be the rear end damage that hurts him. It's going to be the engine damage that gets him.
Well, let's see what it is. Definitely get out there, run. He's in 18th right now. I know he understands, and he's just in a mix right there. And that's just not where Falkenham wants to be. But making positions up. And again, I'm going to say, Macklin pretty much needs to win. But if Macklin doesn't win, if Falkenham can break the top 15, 15th or higher, doesn't matter what Macklin does unless he wins the race. He's going to still, Falkenham's going to put himself in that title hunt. What this does do, though, eases a little bit on Justin Fuller, who is, now we're going to watch him too. Remember, he got in the back end of him. Did it hurt that truck? Any. Will it, performance-wise, will it hurt him? He's back in 5th right now. Doesn't look like it's up to speed like it was before, but we'll have to see. As Trey Edson's leading it, though, and, he's walking away with this thing.
That he is. His biggest competition, Daniel Falkenham, is now in a whole world of trouble. He's now looking to survive. He's no longer looking for the win. A win would be nice.
Caution,
but
Tommy
Daniel
Ryan.
Falkenham's looking for basically looking to survive and get to the next round now.
Go back here and see what happened. Tommy Ryan right here. And on the back end at 18 right there. Falkenham's back on pit road. Obviously probably going to get some more optional repairs done. Why not? It's under caution. Falkenham sees, Sean Casto, looks like just a little bit of contact between the two there. Everybody checks up good. Avoidance from everybody there. But Tommy Ryan, no place to go. Wrong place, wrong time. Well, I tell you, this here, a race like this will make your head spin. Now, here's another thing. Justin Fuller is on pit road. This makes things very interesting when it comes to Trey Edson, Falkenham, and all them. Well, they just making things interesting right now. A race like this, drive you crazy as a driver, or a crew chief would be drove crazy by the time the end of this race is over.
For sure. And that's why I'm glad I'm not on the box for anyone. I'm just sort of here calling it from the booth with you, because being down there and making those decisions about when to pit, when to stay out, what to do, how to work the strategy to your benefit, it's not fun.
No.
It's not fun.
And there is 1 point separating Justin Fuller and Trey Edson. There's Daniel Falkenham is 6 back from Trey Edson right now. Chad Coleman. See, now, we haven't even talked about Chad Coleman because he's not there. Chad Coleman's only 8 points back from Daniel Falkenham. Where's Chad Coleman at right now? He's sitting at 11th. Falkenham's 13th. So, you know, Coleman's sitting here going, Now, with that said, Coleman would only be 8, 6, 1, 7. What is that? 14? 14 points behind Fuller, give or take 1 or 2, somewhere in that area. And right now, Fuller is 21st on pit road. That's not good, because Chad Coleman is sitting 11. Now Fuller comes off, and we just said I'm gonna say 14. So right now you've got 10. Boy, just like that. You know, we were talking a minute ago, like, hey, this is a wrap. You know, these guys are there. Just like that, this has mixed this whole points championship all up.
Another thing to keep in mind, this race has a time limit. We're at about halfway already for the time limit, and we're only on lap 85. These drivers could run out of time, and it's no longer a battle to lap 200 at that point. It's a battle to the time limit. Keep an eye on the clock. Only 45 minutes remain.
Why do you think about all that?
Oh, yeah. And if we keep going at this rate, we will not make it to the end. If we get back to running green flag like we did for the first 30-odd laps, we'll easily make it to the end. But
Yeah.
if we keep having all these cautions and these drivers don't clean it up, then it's going to completely change the strategy for everyone, because they're no longer racing to lap 200. Then they're racing the clock.
They are. So if Trey wins, I'm trying to look on Brian Macklin's side here. He's 10 back from Coleman. How far is he back from the leader? That's 10. 18, so he's 10 back from him, 18 back from Falkenham. You got to add another 6, which is 24 back from there. He's 25 points back from Trey Edson. But I think Macklin right now is looking at the fact of how far back he is from Daniel Falkenham, which is roughly, like I said, 18 points. I don't know. This is a tough one here. I mean, this is close. This is you could get out here and scratch your head with the numbers all night long. Right now, Trey Edson's doing what he needs to do: win this race. Let's look back. Justin Fuller's back in 18th. Daniel Falkenham is back up to 10th, coming through the field. So if he does have motor damage there, Jeff, it looks okay right now.
Right, he may not have any at all. The engine damage he does have isn't making enough of a difference. You can get away here with pretty much cosmetic damage to an extent, exterior damage, but once you start damaging the engine, that's when things can start to go downhill very, very quickly. Absolutely, I agree with you on that one. Ryan Howard hanging on to 8, so we already know he's locked in to the final 4, but we still got 3 positions, and it's up in the air at this point. Trey Edson obviously out front. If he wins it, he locks himself in. Then you've got 2 other positions, which, as the yellow flag is out, looks like Scott Stencil, unfortunately, around in the back here. Just not the night he wants. And collected Tommy Ryan, too, there. Let's go back on the replay here and see just again what happened. But, yeah, if Trey Edson wins it, obviously then there's two positions up, and I gotta feel that those 2 positions were between
Probably going to be closely matched between Falkingham and Justin Fuller at that point. Coleman and Macklin, and again, got Stencil. Let me ask a question here, Jeff. You're the setup man. That's twice now. Lost it going into a turn, and that's the braking issue. What do you change on that truck to stop that?
Well, I'm taking a look back at it here, and if I'm up there helping him out, I'm telling him it's time to get that braking issue fixed. He spun it out twice there entering. He got to just put the brake bias forward a bit, tighten that car up on entry, because now he's got right rear damage and engine damage as Jeff Ryan had nowhere to go and got into him.
Wow. All right, well, it is definitely heating up here. Final race here of pretty much the chase as we go next week for the final race of the season. This one here is the final race here to decide the final four who will race for a championship next week at Phoenix, which, again, another tough track. Very hard to pass track. And as I say that, this is not going to be the most popular thing to say. Again, I'm a big Bill Elliott fan anyway, so congratulations on Chase Elliott winning. I'm not very fond of how he won because you have a little... Here's your conspiracy, folks. You fail 2 post-race inspections, miraculously get the 3rd one. You start from the rear. By lap 30, you're leading the race. You come through on a track that's very tough to pass, blowing people away. Hey. Anyways, congratulations for him to win. So I don't think you're going to see that too much happen here on the iRacing side. Not with a fixed setup, anyways.
Not with a fixed setup, but I will say this. I'll give credit where credit is due. Alan Gustafson, Chase Elliott's crew chief, fantastic at setting up the cars. Second to none in nailing car setups. Terrible at making late race pit calls. And if there had been a caution with under 20 laps to go, I can all but guarantee they would have given it away. Alan Guff's fantastic at setting up the car.
And they are.
But
you can sit up here and, yeah, I mean, it's a thing. I mean, it's not going to be the most popular decision to say. Obviously,
I'm just looking at it historically, though. I mean, you look at it, death. Taxes,
the reason nobody says anything. That's true. And the reason nobody's gonna say anything is he's a fan favorite. And again, I'm a big Bill Elliott fan, so obviously, hey, congratulations to him. But you got to bring up the concern because all season long, everybody complains and whines about NASCAR doing this and that, doing this. Well, just because it's your favorite driver, you still got to look and whine and complain of how that just did not look right. But I've said it for years. I never liked how the Final Four came down to it anyways, because it always seemed, it used to be, I don't know if you remember this, Jeff, used to be back in the day, you would see different winners in the last race. Now it's pretty much a given. You might as well just keep those 4 cars out there and let them race, because everybody else pretty much just don't even compete hardly. Because we're back green.
That's a fair point, but I don't know. I think that a big part of it was that Hendrick and RCR teamed up, and that race at Phoenix was the first time they put out one of their new engines, one of the new team engines where they worked together. So that played a huge part in it, I think, as well. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, how often...
Don't say new engine, because now you're starting to make it sound like, so he had a more powerful engine than everybody.
Oh, no. But Hendrick and RCR are working together on their engines now, and Phoenix was the first time that they had one of those engines in there.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
I think the Chevys might have something next year after they've been sort of terrible the past few years.
Well, they need to. I mean, like I say, they've definitely not been on point, but we'll just have to see how the next season starts. And, everybody else out there can get on the conspiracy bandwagon and complain more as NASCAR starts back up. But we're in the off-season there in the real life and about to be on the off-season here at the Sim500. Is out front Trey Edson, though. He's trying to lock his ticket into the Final Four for next week to race for a championship here at the Kickass Beef Jerky. But Brian Macklin, I got to kind of feel for him. And the man's had speed, and it all started at Talladega. Coming in, he had it there, got caught up in a wreck, late wreck. Then at Rockingham, let me tell you what, probably had the fastest truck there. Led a lot of laps up front. Looked like he was going to win that thing at times. Then at the end of it, again, got caught up in a mess that hurt him and put him in a hole. And he's pretty much in a must-win here. So it just, the last two races here have not been what he's wanted. And coming into Martinsville with a must-win, again, I got to say, these last three races here, Jeff, are very tough, unknown races. Talladega, Rockingham, and Martinsville, these are not easy tracks to win on.
No, absolutely not. Rockingham is an incredibly difficult course. It's like a longer Bristol. And when I'm building, I think I mentioned this last time a couple weeks ago as well. When I'm building a setup for Rockingham, I build off of a Bristol setup. Surprisingly, because the track is so different, so similar. You have to be aggressive, and just the way you drive it is very, very similar. It's Bristol with a gear change, essentially. And then Martinsville, this place is incredibly tough. I use a New Hampshire setup with a shortened gear here. So you can sort of find these similarities between the tracks, but going from Rockingham to Martinsville, it's so hard to carry anything at all over. Because Rockingham, you're worried about tire wear. Martinsville, you're worried about tire heat and not really tire wear. Rockingham has the big, wide open, steeply banked curves. Martinsville, you're on the brakes for most of it. And you're just sort of crawling your way around. It's so difficult to go from one to the other and be good at both. But Trey Edson is making it look easy out here. He's led most of this race, and we're over halfway.
Yeah, he's making it look easy. Just go back to Brian Macklin. Talladega wrecked out a lap 68 of 80. And, so right there at the end, unfortunately, and finished the race in 30th. And that was started the downfall. Rockingham came in. He was able to bounce back, but he still only finished 9th. The problem with that is, obviously, Ryan Howard won. Daniel Falkenham coming second. Trey Edson and Justin Fuller was 3rd and 4th. So when you've got your other chase contenders finishing like that, you might think, well, 9th place was a good finish. And not so much. It still puts you in a hole, which is the hole he's got here coming into Martinsville. And, we're seeing it right now. It's just, I don't know what else he can do other than he's going to have to win this race. But right now, I mean, it's all Trey Edson. Trey Edson's the man, and if it keeps going like it is, like what you just said, and you got to look who's back up the 5th there. Look at that, Daniel Falkenham, boy. He's turned the wick up.
Yes, he certainly has. He is really making this work out here. And he's only 2.5 seconds behind Trey Edson. If anyone's going to catch him, it's going to be Daniel, I think.
Good run so far out here, these guys, man. Last race here before we go to the official last race of the season. And look at old Ryan Howard. He might be locked in, but right now he's giving his all. He's like, look, guys, well, hey, don't forget about me. I might have won last week and locked myself in the Final Four. But maybe I'll win this week and then let y'all just battle over points and see who gets in, as he's up to 5th right now.
Doing a great job. He's not gaining any time on Trey Edson, which is to be expected. But the fact that he's sort of tearing his way up through the field and gaining time on everyone else, I think if anyone's going to have anything for Trey Edson, it'll be Daniel Falkenham. And with that damage, when Trey's in a perfect truck, that's going to be very, very tough. We'll have to see what happens.
We talked about earlier, we talked about earlier guys that might come to the field, ones that won't. We won't see too much of that. Ryan Howard pitted at lap 94. Took 4 tires. Trey, Macklin, Cole, and E.J. O'Rourke all pitted at lap 35 and 37. They've been out there a very, very long time. At this point, though, if it keeps going green like it is, what do you do pit strategy-wise? I mean, it's... A lot of guys are off on different pit strategies. Falkenham pitted at lap 73.
I think Daniel pitted, he did just repairs, so he's still on those tires from lap, I believe it was 36 or so. But fuel isn't really a concern, but tires are, and I think these tires are sort of now starting to generate heat. If another caution, when another caution comes out, I'm going to come down and take tires if I'm one of these drivers. I think everyone is going to come down and take fresh rubber, and I think they're going to take 4 when they do.
Yeah, you see right there just Ryan Howard. obviously going around Chad Coleman. Now, this is probably about the only time you're going to see that outside, to me anyway, see the outside really prevail. I mean, a lot newer tires versus a lot older tires. You can see it makes it look easy. Again, you talk about two trucks would be dead even. Normally, you're not going to see that. I'm not going to say it couldn't happen, but again, we go back to that. 99% of the time, that inside lane is going to be the one that's going to prevail on that battle. Ryan Howard's coming through the front. You see Daniel Falkenham's coming up there. They're trying to make up as much time as they can. Trey Edson's out front. And now the question looms, can Ryan Howard go the entire distance? If this thing goes green, can Ryan Howard go the entire distance by pitting? If he put 4 tires on, and it says 14 seconds, so I'm going to say he put tires on at lap 94. If he did, can he go the entire distance of this race without pitting? Because if Trey Edson pits, you know he's going to go several laps down, especially on a green flag stop. What do you think, Jeff?
I think if I'm Trey Edson, it's already too late. You know, if you pit it on lap 96, you're going to need new tires because it's been 30 laps. And if you're Trey Edson, if there's a caution, you're going to need new tires because it's been 90 laps since you last pit. So no matter what happens, you're going to come down and you're going to take 4.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm saying if it goes green. If it goes green
right.
the rest of the way, you obviously know Trey's got to come down. But does Ryan Howard try to run this thing out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I think absolutely you got to take that chance, and it won't be easy when you're out there on those old tires. You are going to be miserable, and you are going to be screaming to your crew chief that you need a caution and you need tires. But it's going to be very, very beneficial to him if he were to stay out and stay on those old tires and keep that time going.
Yeah. Now, and also in lieu of that, of what we talked about is obviously staying out like he is. Trey and him, you know, if they have to pit under green, they're going to go a couple laps down. The worst case scenario is a caution comes out during that time. Boy, that really sets Ryan Howard up, because then, yeah, you're jumping on pit road and getting 4 tires because everybody else is going to be a couple laps down. And if Trey Edson gets caught there, Brian Macklin gets caught, which is Brian Macklin has seen almost just to say, wow, it's over. Trey maybe, you know, still would be okay, but that's another scenario there you got to look at. So interesting how this race has just shifted and turned. You know, we're at lap 125. I think we still should have enough time if we keep on the pace we are right now.
But that's assuming no cautions. And Joe, there's going to be cautions. I can assure you of that. I'm almost positive there's going to be cautions here coming up.
Well, it has been a good one, though. I mean, so far, these guys have kind of stayed out of trouble. Justin Fuller back in 17th spot and just trying to pretty much at this point hang on. Got to look and see Daniel Falkenham back up to 5th. Chad Coleman has pretty much stayed dead even all race long, right there in 9th. You know, Tommy Ryan's back at 10th behind him, so I don't know. All right, it's all Trey Edson up front, but Ryan Howard closing in on him, and you can see it's almost about a tenth and a half quicker Ryan Howard is on those tires right now. So Macklin's back there. It'll be a matter of time here, and Howard's going to be right there on him.
Taking a look out front, Trey Edson continuing to pull away. Ryan Howard is keeping pace, and he's got about 1.1 seconds back to Brian Macklin in 3rd. But Daniel Falkenham now falling back a little bit more. Trey Edson really showing us how it's done here. You just pulled another 10 on Ryan Howard, and he's hoping to stay out as long as he possibly can.
And that's true right now. And I think, you know, at this point, Trey's probably, you know, saying, okay, I see Ryan back there. I'm gonna try to up the wick a little bit here. Yeah, hopefully, like you said, you know, catch a caution. I'm impressed. The fact that he's able to pitting on lap 35, that old of a tires, and still have the speed he's got. And Ryan, you know, like he is, obviously, you know, no slouch. You know, he's going to be a battle for a championship next week. But on tires that are like lap 94, so yeah, that's interesting. That kind of tells me, unless you make the moves early with the tires, the more the run goes on, those tires fall off pretty quick.
Absolutely. And like I said before, it's not so much that the tires are falling off and they're wearing out. I can all but guarantee his tire wear isn't more than 5 to 8% after 100 laps, but it's the heat that builds up in those tires, and that heat is caused by getting on the brakes. You can see the brake rotors glowing there, and the way tire pressure and heat works, caution is out now. I can talk about this once we get this cycle.
That's what I'm saying. So right there, that's what Trey Edson wanted. And obviously Ryan Howard's definitely going to come in the pit too. There'd be no use to stay out at this point. Let's go back on the replay in here and see what Thomas O'Leary, see what happened. Him and Jeff Ryan got together. He's right there. Basically the same thing going into the turn, spun around. Jeff Ryan tried to slow up. It just bumped him a little bit, doesn't it?
Doesn't take much to send someone around here, but here comes Trey Edson down pit road. Everyone is going to be taking 4 tires here. I can all but guarantee it, and that's just the smart move to make. Justin Fuller stays out and throws a wrench into that. There goes my whole thing. Justin Fuller stays out.
Why? That would
Why
be
is-
my, I mean, unless he's anticipating another caution. Now he did pit on lap 96. Now, here's well, never mind. Here comes Justin Fuller into pits now. So
I did just miss it. I don't know.
that or was he a lap down? I didn't look at that. He might have been a lap down.
He wasn't. He was
Yeah, he
scored as
wasn't.
the leader there.
That's kind of strange. Unless, again, we got to go back to those bonus points. Remember, Justin Fuller has not led tonight. Let's just hypothetically say 1 bonus point. But really, at this point, doesn't matter because he'd have to be right there on the back bumper of Trey Edson. And if Trey Edson wins this one, who knows? But I think now at this point, Justin Fuller's looking at the fact of Chad Coleman and Daniel Falkenham. That's where his concern is right now, is what Chad Coleman's doing, which is in 7th. And we go back to Coleman is only, go back to my little chart here. Coleman's 8 points behind Falkenham, and Falkenham is 6 points behind Edson, which is 1, so it'll be 7 points. 8 plus 7 is 15.
Correct.
So, yeah, not the mathematician my wife over here is. She can figure stuff out. So, yeah, I think at this point right now, I think Justin Fuller is thinking more along the lines of Chad Coleman. Coleman sits in 7th. Fuller right now in 16th. I think that's it. I think he realizes Trey Edson's got the truck that might pull off the win here or finish in the top 5. So he at this point, I think he's looking at, okay, where's Coleman going to finish? If Coleman finishes up there in that top 5, it could be very close and interesting, but that 1 point might now, or as we said, 15 might be 16 points now,
We'll have to see.
Yeah, a lot. It's all speculation, unofficial as of right now. We're just going off of what we know about how the point system works. Again, any penalty points, bonus points, or anything like that can be played into a factor by the end of this race of who gets to the final 4. We will definitely know. Hopefully, we'll know before we go off the air tonight here. Again, we'll definitely know if Trey Edson wins, he locks his ticket in. But Ryan Howard could mess that up here. I know Brian Macklin definitely won. Macklin's got to be aggressive. That's just all this to it. Macklin's got to get up there and say, look, I like you, Trey. But if I got to move you, I got to move you. Now, I usually don't want anybody wrecking anybody, but moving and wrecking is two different things. And so Macklin's got to keep Edson right there. And Trey got a good jump.
And yes, he did, as they're 3 wide further back. The 33 is falling like a rock. But here's the thing as well. They're still running low on time. And the map, if there's another caution, I don't think they're going to make it to the end. And
it is a caution.
Oh, there's the caution. I don't think they're going to make it to the end.
You jinxed it.
I jinxed it. I know.
The Traxxas truck. I love that paint job of that truck, by the way. I don't like who drives it. Well, Scott Stimley's fine, but the real life driver. Anyways, let's see what happened to him here. Jeff was back here talking about cautions, and then he got one, you know. So somebody spun the RC truck out. Looks like just a little bump on the back, and he got up on that apron, and you know, we don't talk too much about that apron right there, that curb. It definitely can upset a truck too. Okay, let's go back to this again, because I saw what Macklin was doing. He was getting a little bit aggressive there. He knows time's running out. He knows it's pretty much win and you're in. I don't win and I'm not in, pretty much at this case right now. If you're Macklin, and I know as a race driver, you do not want to wreck a driver, and I'm not going to sit here and say do that, but hey, this is a go for a championship. Do you try to move him? Do you rough him up? Let's say rough him up. What the Earnhardt thing is? Rattle his cage. I'm going to say rattle his cage, yeah. What y'all think in the chat out there? What y'all think? You think Macklin should, if he can get a good enough start and get close enough? And here's the thing. To me, he's only going to have one shot to do it. Trey Edson is so fast. I do not, again, I could be wrong. I do not think that Macklin can get up there to his bumper, miss the opportunity, fall back a little bit, and then get back to his bumper again. We've not seen anybody be able to do it all night long. So if he gets to his bumper, he's going to have one shot. Just give him a little extra shove going in the turn. Again, I know Joey's probably out there listening to me. Shut up, Joe. What's wrong with you, man? You're trying to make the league look bad. Hey, no, I'm just making short track racing. Come on. But I think he's going to have one opportunity at it. I really do. Could be wrong, but I think yes.
I'm right there with you. And like you said, that's short track racing, man. The bump and run is the staple of short track racing. I see it every week at Stafford. I see it all the time in official races here on iRacing. You have to make that move, and you have to, if you want to win, you have to be willing to make that move. You have to be willing to shove the guy, not wreck him. You
don't wreck him. Don't wreck him. Yeah, don't wreck him. Yeah,
you get in, and what you do is you either stick your nose in there at the bottom, or make them think your nose is going to be there at the bottom so that they will run the middle lane and you can stick your nose in afterwards. Or you give them a shot square to the center of the back bumper. Yep. That gives them a little extra speed through the center and pushes them out of the line. That's you right. Take advantage while they're trying to collect.
And basically like what Joey Logano, and it's a big controversy thing. Like, oh, well, he shouldn't have. He basically locked on the back bumper of Martin Truex Jr. and pushed him further into the turn, which again pushed Truex up the track, like you just said, which is a textbook bump and run move. We've seen Earnhardt do it a million times, and it was okay back then, but I don't understand this day and age of fans.
Weenies.
Yeah, it's like, really, come on. Now, this is interesting. Edson takes the top side. Yeah, now.
You know why?
What's that?
Daniel Falkingham is in third, and Daniel Falkingham will send Trey Edson going into turn one. So Edson takes the outside. He's going to jump the start here and be clear of Macklin going into turn one. We got Chad
Coleman up there, too. Coleman's got to win this thing. You've got 4 championships.
He jumped the start. He gets clear of Macklin. That's exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, it is, and that's what he needed to get out there. He got clear. Here comes Falkingham, and you see right there a little bump shove from Falkingham to Macklin. Macklin's got to maybe try to send that thing in there. It's go time here, but I just don't think he's fast enough to get up to Edson.
No, and he's not. Trey Edson knows Brian Macklin is not quick enough. That was a genius move by Trey Edson.
Well, I say that, but wait a minute here. He's closing in. ever so slightly. He's driving it in harder into those turns. And look at that right there. The only thing that I see is Trey's able to get off the turn better. Macklin's able to get into the turn. If he could just get right there to that bumper, oh, Edson would be in trouble.
I disagree. I don't think Edson is in any trouble at all. That's Trey Edson going for a Sunday drive, and that's Brian Macklin on the last lap of the Daytona 500.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Brian
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
is driving the wheels off of that thing, and Trey Edson's not even looking in his rear view. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what he wants to do. He wants to keep Macklin close. And I'm sure Trey Edson's listening and he's going, don't give away all my secrets here. But he wants Brian Macklin close to him. And that's going to sound crazy, but the longer that Macklin is there close and close to his back bumper, the harder Macklin's going to push it. Trey Edson knows he's quicker. He knows he's going to be able to outrun Brian Macklin all night long. He has all night long.
Oh,
so
yeah, everybody on the field.
But if Macklin is close there on that back bumper, he's going to keep pushing it hard. He's going to keep overdriving, keep wearing down those right side, or heating up those right side tires, excuse me. And then when Trey Edson needs to start pulling away like he's doing right now, he's going to put more space between him and Daniel Falkingham. He's not worried about Macklin. He's worried about Daniel Falkingham.
Mm-hmm.
And the more space he can get in front of Brian Macklin, who's now heated up his tires, he's overdriven it, Trey Edson's pulling away, the more distance that Daniel Falkingham is now going to overcome. He's not worried about Macklin, he's worried about Falkingham, and he's driving away.
And you know, just to go on there too, now Macklin did what he needed to do there to start. I mean, he knew, like what you said, he had to, do everything he can on the start of it, and he did. Drove the thing hard, and got close. But again, he had Falkenham back there breathing down his back door. So, I mean, my hat's off to Macklin. He's trying everything he can do. Just time's winding out. Edson's running an awesome race, and we've seen Edson do this past summer with the short tracks. He loves short tracks. So this is kind of his wheelhouse. I think the only thing right now that might hurt him, obviously another caution or lap traffic. Which right now kind of looks to be okay with that. My thing is, does Daniel Falkenham have enough to get around Macklin? Now, here's the thing. We talk about Macklin. Daniel Falkenham right now pretty much knows that the position he's in the Final Four. So does he try to press the issue? I mean, if he gets the opening, he's going around Macklin, sure. But does he press the issue to try to get around him?
I don't think so. I think right now what Daniel Falkingham is worried about is he's fine with third place because he doesn't need anything more. A win for him is making it into the playoffs. Wins are nice. Championships are far better. So that's what he's focused on right now. Now, if Macklin screws up, Macklin's holding him up a whole lot, then he'll jump on it. He's not waiting for an opportunity to strike. He's waiting for Brian Macklin to make a mistake. And I'm not saying he's going to make one. And nothing that I'm saying tonight is any sort of shot against Brian Macklin. He is a phenomenal driver. He's sitting up there in second.
He's just had bad luck these last couple races, yeah.
He has, but I'm just saying what I was saying earlier about Trey Edson worried about Daniel Falkingham, because that's been his biggest competition all night. Brian Macklin hasn't been able to get up and run with them, and that's just the product of the racing here. Trey Edson, Daniel Falkingham have been second to none at these courses. So that's why he was able to do it so well. And Brian Macklin put together a phenomenal run tonight.
Well, you got Justin Fuller back here in 11th, and where he's sitting at right now, again, we go off by points. If Trey Edson wins this one, he locks his ticket to the Final Four next week to race for the championship at Phoenix. Justin Fuller, as of where he's sitting at right now, I'll go out on a limb and say that he should lock himself into that Final Four also. So pretty much points-wise, again, all unofficial, because you got bonus points or anything else that could come into play that we wouldn't know about till after the race. If Trey wins it, the other two positions are going to come to, I'm going to think, to Daniel Falkenham and Justin Fuller. Chad Coleman and Brian Macklin have done everything that they could do tonight. And, my hat's off to them. Macklin's just had some bad finishes here. And Sean Casto, as he crashed, but no caution. I think he got off the track in time. Let's go back on the replay here and see what happened to him. He just says, man, I'm done, and just goes off the track. Good job on his end. He just says, look, I just don't have a truck anymore. So, and Falk and him's going to go around Macklin.
Now, he's got 1.3 seconds to make up on Trey Edson here. That doesn't sound like a lot, but on a short track like this, that's a lot. 1.7 seconds, excuse me. That's a lot of time to make up here. That is tough.
And let's look here. Lap-wise, yeah, he's got time to do it. Now, I think we're going to have enough time, though. I think we'll have enough time.
It's going to be very close, right to the end.
That's why you're the engineer, so there you go. I'll leave all that hard stuff on your end there, but you can see Daniel Falkenham and those tires. It's kind of, truck's kind of going out. Trey Edson's just been on rails all night long. I mean, you give my hats off to him, and this right here. The thing about it is, though, going into Phoenix next week. What is that? A mile track?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say short track. Everybody else gonna disagree. But anyways. It's a tough track. Obviously a lot bigger than what we are here. But I'm going to say it kind of still puts it back in the wheelhouse of Trey Edson again. Because he likes those shorter style tracks. Let's say it that way. I think qualifying is going to matter. How they fit, obviously staying out of trouble. So I don't want to give it to him yet because anything can happen. I mean, you just never know. He could get a disconnect and anything, We're in a virtual world, so, don't want to wish nothing bad on it. But if he comes out of here winning it, obviously, this right here is to show just how strong he is to be a contender in the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky truck to win the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Championship. And like he always says, seems like every week he's always up here talking to him.
That's right. I mean, we talk to him just as much, if not more than anybody else, and there's a reason for that. He is a phenomenal driver. Trey Edson out to lead and pulling away.
He is. Let's look at some of the statistics here right fast. Ryan Howard, Justin Fuller, Trey Edson, and Daniel Falkenham, the top four guys. Again, don't want to take anything away from Macklin and Coleman because they've had exceptional seasons. Coleman, unfortunately, one of the ones here, he hasn't won anything this year, but he's been very dead on consistent to make it where he at. Macklin with 2 wins. But you got to look. Daniel Falkenham sits with 6 wins. Edson sits with 5. Fuller sits with 3. Ryan Howard sits with 1, which is last week, which was, hey, there you go. If you're going to win 1, hopefully 2 would be next week, too. So, but that got him into it. But you got to look at these top 5, top 10 finishes. And this is where you really look at the consistency of a championship. And amongst those 4 drivers, you start with Ryan Howard. He's got 8 top 5s, 15 top 10s. It's phenomenal there. But Justin Fuller with 12 top 5s, 18 top 10s. Edson with 17 top 5s, 18 top 10s. Daniel Falkenham with 10 top 5s and 17 top 10s. So amongst those guys, they know how to get into the top 5 and 10 a lot. So going into next week, if it's those 4, it will be very, very interesting to see who pulls it off. Because just right there is some phenomenal numbers.
You got that right.
That's dead consistency, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then we're coming down to the final laps here, and Jeff was talking about the final. We got 25 to go, and as far as time goes, though, we still got over 10 minutes, don't we? 10 minutes?
7 minutes, 48 seconds.
So we're doing 20 seconds a lap, roughly, 2021.
We got 7 minutes, 30 seconds left of racing, and 7 minutes, 33 seconds left on the clock. It is very close.
Gotta go green flag the rest of the way. It's gotta go green the rest of the way. Again, even if the clock runs out, they're on the last lap, it's going to finish that last lap. So there we go. But either way, it has been a very good race. And a couple guys, you know, obviously nobody's going to pit at this point. What you've got's what you've got. Trey Edson right now, a little bit slower than Daniel Falkenham that last time. Might be because he had to go around a lot of lap traffic. You're probably going to see Daniel Falkenham be slow this time around. But right now, Falkenham working over Howard. Be able to take him. Ackland's still hanging on the third. Coleman there in fourth. Oh. Coming down to the wire here.
Very close. Daniel Falkenham now closing in on Trey Edson, though. Keep that in mind as well. Keep an eye on that. He could make this work.
Well, he's 1.7 seconds back. He's going to need seconds. Tenths is not going to get it done. I think at this point, again, we go back to the caution, which obviously would throw us in a time thing, but a caution is probably something Trey Edson does not want to see. You do not want to give Daniel Falkenham one opportunity to try to get near you, because I'm not saying Brian Macklin couldn't, but unlike before, you know, Falkenham could get up there and that bump and run could play. So I think Trey right now is like, look, guys, you've got a bad truck on the track. Please just pull into the pits and don't wreck.
Yeah, that's the last thing Trey Edson wants. He wants to stay out front here, and now he's pulled another 0.3 on Daniel Falkenham. So Trey Edson wants this race to stay green. He wants these guys to keep it clean and to just get it done and go home. That's what he wants.
Oh, yeah, so good one here so far. These guys, man, are doing everything that they need to do and more here tonight. Martinsville Speedway here. After tonight, one more race. 4 drivers will battle next week for a championship at Phoenix for the Kickass Beef Jerky Truck Series. And right now, Trey Edson's looking to punch his ticket as being one of those 4. Ryan Howard's already one of them who won last week. And where Daniel Falkenham's sitting, and Justin Fuller, who is sitting in 11th right now, doing what he needs to do. Brian Macklin, Chad Coleman, you see Chad Coleman falling off the pace a lot, just falling back. Had a good season, but Macklin, he pretty much needs a win to get in. These last 2 races just been heartbreakers for him. Not the finishes that he wants.
No, it certainly is not. And this is it's been a crazy season. A lot of ups and downs. Seeing people come out of nowhere and do really well. Bob Gillenwater, we don't talk about him too often. He's up here running 5th. And then we see people that are up front pretty much all the time, all of a sudden dropping towards the back and just having rough nights. You know, Ryan Howard took that restart in 2nd. Now he's all the way back in 17th. Just things can go so wrong so fast here. And you have to be on top of your game.
Yep. So coming down to the closing laps. Here we go. Out front, Trey Edson, the man right there. Going to put it in victory lane, punch his ticket, and making it to the final 4. That man there, Daniel Falkenham, he's looking to stay where he's at. Kind of, we'd hope to run down Trey Edson, but if he sticks where he at, he's going to punch his ticket there, barring no penalties or anything like that. And everything is still unofficial. Been a very good race so far. Had some guys up and down all night long. As we go to Phoenix next week, that's going to be interesting. That track anyways.
Phoenix is one of my personal favorite tracks, and to both call races at and to run at, because here's the thing, in a fixed race there's so many different things you can do. You can find different lines, you can make a big dive bomb move to the inside and the dog leg, you can make something happen and make passes and make things work. keep an eye out next week for people doing something that you're just not expecting and someone pushing the limit. That's what it's going to be all about. Who can take advantage the best? It's not so much about, races like this where it's taking care of yourself. Next week is going to be all about finding the advantage.
I asked a question because I didn't watch very much of it, but I watched a little bit of the real race at Phoenix. I remember that dog leg being a lot wider than what it was. It almost looked like there wasn't one there. Did they make it to where because usually you could go like 5 wide down the inside? It didn't look like they were doing that. It just wasn't there. Did they take that away?
They actually reversed the track, so what used to be turns 1 and 2 is now turns 3 and 4, and what's now the back stretch is now the front stretch.
Okay.
So where the dog leg is, that's now the start. The center of the dog leg is now the start finish line, and that was done when they remodeled the track.
Okay. Well, I was wondering because I was like, well, where's the thing that everybody goes shooting off into that one turn and everybody fans out like they're, at Talladega or something, I'm like, where'd it go? Yeah. I hadn't watched Phoenix in a while, so you could tell, but I was like, what? That don't even look like the track I'm used to seeing. A lot different, but either way, like you said, gonna be interesting. It's a tough track. Trey Edson's still out front in this one, coming out of the final lap, 6 to go here. Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Series here, and keeps going like it's going. I think we'll be all right on time.
At this rate, yes, we will make it on time. Actually, no, we're not going to make it on time. We're going to be a couple laps short because there is 51 seconds left and 5 to go. So we will not make it on time.
All right, we're turning it into a road race.
Correct. Yeah, we are. We really are.
The Trey's right now, so pretty much he would have needed a caution a little bit ago, or he wouldn't want to see a caution. But right now, if the one would come out, it would end it under time wise here. So what'll happen, folks, is we're going to try to keep you up on the thing here, because you won't see a white flag. You just instantly will you see a white flag? I don't think we'll see a white flag.
Yeah, I think you do.
You do? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, 10 seconds left. Will he get to the line? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 seconds to spare. Trey Edson gets to the line here. So I believe white.
That's what I'm saying. It won't show a white flag. So what's going to happen here, folks? If the time does run, it just shows checkered flag. Okay. Yeah, it just shows the checkered flag, folks. My bad. As he comes out of the last turn, so that's why we had to keep up with it a little bit there and what happened. Coming out of the last turn, Trey Edson's going to punch his ticket into the Final Four next week. Daniel Falkenham's going to come home in second. Brian McElnair in third. What an outstanding race it was. Very long green flag run here with these guys, and loved it there, man. I tell you, that's one of the things about this series I probably will miss the most is some of the great racing that they put on here. They have phenomenal finishes throughout this series. So Trey Edson punching his ticket, Final Four to race for a championship, and again, all the other guys can, we'll say they'll probably be there, but we definitely want to make it we'll say unofficial as of right now. But Trey Edson, Daniel Falkenham definitely there. Let's see. And bring these guys up here. Let's see if I can move guys now, because they said I could move them. Hey, Nick Cohan, if you're listening, I still can't move anybody. Folks, I don't know what in the world. Let me type out here and say, hey, jump in the interview.
I can go. Let me go wrangle him up.
All right. I know Edson was trying to work, or Nick Cohen was trying to work on that the other day, but trying it right here. And Yeah, I can't move. I can't move Daniel Falkenham. Yeah, Daniel there, so don't see anybody else. Where's old Trey and Ryan Macklin? Not even in here.
They let their actions do the talking.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah.
Where's we just need Brian Macklin now. In the meantime, we can bring up Daniel Falkingham.
All right, well, you're right. Let's bring up your man here, Daniel Falkenham. Let's get a word with him.
Dan, it's Jeff up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, that was a crazy race there. What happened earlier on in the race? It sounded like your shifter just got stuck and wouldn't go into gear.
Yeah, so that's this. I was kind of wondering the same thing. So I wanted to restart the race in second gear. So I had my shifter down here in second, and then coming off of 4, I was like shifting through the gears. I shifted up to third, and I was looking right at my shifter right after I spun. It was right in third gear, and instead it went to first. So had a nice little shifter malfunction there, and thankfully I got a yellow when we all pitted because I actually switched over in the options. I switched from H pattern to shift to sequentials because I was using my paddles for the rest of the race. So that was interesting, but thankfully we were able to survive the rest of the race, and yeah, we're on our way to the final 4. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have an incident like that tonight, but now I gotta start thinking about I don't know, it's just weird shifter malfunction. I have to think about something about that, try to resolve it.
Well, if that's the biggest problem you had tonight, I would still say for Martinsville, that's a pretty good night. What are your thoughts on the whole race there, the whole 200 laps?
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. Love short track racing, so I knew this would feel pretty good for me. It definitely goes towards my style. And I knew pretty much the thing we had to do was just keep the truck in one piece, and hopefully either Chad Coleman or Brian Macklin didn't win, and that would have knocked me out. So, because after my wreck at Talladega, and I was definitely in the hole early, but had a good run last week at Rockingham, so we were the last guy in on points. And I think we stayed that way, and thankfully Macklin or Coleman didn't win. So we solidified our spot in the final 4, and didn't really have any issues all night. Definitely, my only issue was just getting back to the field, especially with a little bit of a damaged truck and whatever. So, thankfully, that was the only issue we had tonight. So I'm sorry to Fuller that I gave him pretty much the most damage out of that. Pretty much killed his race after that. But other than that, it was overall pretty decent for Martinsville, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Who do you have to thank for this amazing race here tonight?
I got to thank First Rate Bay Lobster 207 for being on the truck as always. Got to thank you guys for being on the broadcast. Got to thank Joey and everyone, Nick Silver, all the guys here at Sim500 who do all the leagues and stuff. Got to thank, let's see, who else we got to thank? We got to thank the rest of the admins, thank all the drivers who come out and race each and every week. And thanks to Kickass Beef Jerky for sponsoring the series. And thanks to everyone who watched the race as well. Definitely was a good show.
Absolutely. Dan, congrats on that second place finish here tonight, and we'll see you next week battling for a championship.
Appreciate it, Jeff.
Man, I tell you what, Daniel Falkenham right there, always top-notch, top driver. He did what he needed to do, punched his ticket in that final 4. He's going to be racing next week. Well, let's bring this guy up here, too. Trey, let's enjoy the booth. Got a copy? Well, he's got his headphones off. So. Oh, there it is.
Got you.
All right. Well, Trey, I know you said before, it seems like you're always up here talking to us. Hopefully, you got one more race. If you could do what you did tonight, you'd be the champ. Take us back to your race earlier on, though. It wasn't a must-win in your end for you. Obviously, it feels good to win because you lock yourself in the final 4. How's that feel?
I mean, it's cool. It's to go to next week and have a chance to repeat back to back as a truck champ. That's cool to give myself a chance. I that's kind of my goal when the season started, was to at least, prove that you deserved it last year. So the truck, I don't even really enjoy the truck as much as I used to when they switched us over to the lower horsepower. But for some reason, I always seem to run pretty good in it. So I wish we were going back to Homestead instead of Phoenix, because I love some Homestead, but NASCAR went and threw a curveball at us. So I don't know how this thing will drive at Phoenix. So we'll find out, though.
Well, my thing is, now Phoenix, I put it in the category of short tracks. If it's a mile track there, it almost puts it near the wheelhouse of what we've seen you do in the past. You love shorter tracks, it seems like. I know you're saying it's not really familiar. It is a tough place, but how do you feel about now you got Falkingham, you got Ryan Howard. I'm going to say Justin Fuller's the other one who probably made it in there. All unofficial, obviously, Cedric. But how you feel about those other three guys, I mean, as far as performance-wise going into that race?
I think Ryan Howard's kind of a wild card. I mean, he ran up front all year long, but I think he kind of snuck in there. He was kind of a 5th or 6th place throughout the season. I honestly thought it would be either Coleman or Macklin, and that would have been me, Macklin, and Fuller. That would have been 3 teammates going up against Daniel, which is a situation we had in the Cup Series on Monday. But Ryan's, he threw a heck of a curveball at us last week at Rockingham. I think he kind of knew he was a long shot, and he went a different strategy than all of us and whipped our butts and won the race and locked himself to Phoenix. So Daniel, he's always at the front. Fuller's always at the front. And those two are better at Phoenix than me. So that's kind of why I was saying I wish we were going back to Homestead, because I'm usually better than Fuller on a long run at Homestead. Daniel's good everywhere. Me and him got into it Monday. It was probably my fault, and I ended up turning him around, which was a battle for our Cup Series championship. So keep that in the back of your head next week if he's behind me and wants to send my truck on top of the Rattlesnake Hill there in 3 and 4. But when he was behind me tonight, I was like, well, if he wrecks me, it is what it is. I mean,
here's the now that does bring up something that everybody is team orders. You're saying you've got 3 teammates going against one other guy, and obviously Ryan Howard, he's like, I don't care what teammates, I'll push y'all out the way. I'm gonna win this thing. But if it comes down to y'all 3, and I don't want to take Howard out of it, but if it comes down to y'all 3 on the last lap winning this thing, do you move one of your teammates, or do you say, oh yeah, go ahead, buddy, you can have it?
Probably not. I wouldn't say go ahead, but I'm not gonna full throttle the entry of the corner to get to him, So we had a similar situation Monday. I think me and Fuller were battling for the championship. He was one of them. And he lined up behind me on a restart, and Macklin was leading, but Macklin wasn't in the final 4. So, I don't think any of us is just going to put each other in the fence. Now, if we somehow got side by side, we start dooring the hell out of each other. Now, I expect that. But
what about bump and run? Bump and run. That's what I'm talking about.
If you're good at it,
right?
If you know you're not going to spin them around, maybe I think. Okay. But
be interesting.
Yeah. I don't. A few years ago here, I spun Fuller out, and I wasn't running for points, and he literally drove from the back to the front. So he's really good. I was leading, and he started in the back, drove through the field past me. So he's just really good at Phoenix. For some reason I struggle, but
I'm interested.
I gotta struggle at Martinsville.
Tonight, you could fool everybody on that one now, because you definitely was dominating here and looked like you was on rails. And I bring that up because you brought the fact up of teammates, and I know everybody in the back of their minds, oh Lord, we have 3 teammates going to be racing. If it comes down to those 3, neither one of them is going to want to be aggressive enough to take the move on the inside or outside or whatnot. They're just going to run single file. Oh yeah, go ahead, but. Either way, man, tonight you showed you got a fast truck to be a champion. Obviously, you're the definitive champion here at Kickass Beef Jerky. Looking to defend that title again next week. You got anybody you want to thank for this awesome win?
Yeah, you already kind of name dropped them there with Kickass Beef Jerky, but Yeah, we're approaching the end of the season. I'm ready for an off season. For some reason, when we get to these playoffs and the Sim 500 Premier Series, which are Mondays and Wednesdays, it's like I'm ready for it to be over. I should be pumped because you're getting like a restart, a second run at a season, but I kind of get burnt out whenever the playoffs start. So
long season, man. It's a long season.
It really is, and to commit to, I think we mimic most of the real series, so it's 36 of your Mondays and 20 something of your Wednesdays. So you put a lot of time into it. So like you don't want to, like you just mentioned with the teammate deal, you don't want to just put all that time in there and just be like, well, here you go, here's a championship. But you also don't want to burn a friendship. So
absolutely.
But yeah, I need to thank Joey Gatina. He's I was joking Monday with that interview. I'll wake up to Facebook messages from that guy, and he's constantly got stuff running through his head about what can we do different at Sim 500, or what do you think of this? I mean, I don't think he sleeps. I think he just sits there and tries to make Sim 500 a better league. So thanks to all the work he puts into it. Thanks to Kickass Beef Jerky and all the sponsors at Sim 500. And thanks to you. I know it's been a wild season for you as well up in the booth, and hope you've enjoyed it. We got one more, so hopefully I get to talk to you next week, whether it's a champion or just a good run. So I'll probably go back and watch this tomorrow and see how you did. So maybe I can judge you.
Well, I tell you what, man, you're right. It's been a long season. We got one to go, 4 drivers in a battle for the championship. You're looking to defend yours. It has been an outstanding up and down road. It's been long seasons throughout here at the Sim 500, and I've enjoyed it. I know me and Jeff's been up here, and I see out here on the Discord now, and I don't know if you noticed the driver thing that they came up with. It shows your picture a little better, and it shows your mug shot. And then Josh Parker, he had to emphasize that a little bit, I guess, there for you, so you'll get to see that.
Yeah. I clicked over to that channel, and I was like, why is my face so big and plastered all over this Discord channel? But
yeah, well,
hey, that's a good thing. It means I'm on the right path.
You're on the right path. You're at number 1. You're going to battle next week for the championship again, Trey Edson. Good luck out there, and again, congratulations on the win.
Appreciate it, man. You have a good evening.
All right, there you go. Trey Edson and the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky truck. Jeff, I tell you what an awesome race it was here at Martinsville. We got one more next week at Phoenix. We're crowning a champ then. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. It's going to be an amazing race. I can't wait for it. I love calling and watching races at Phoenix, so it's going to be an amazing run to the end. I think Trey Edson's going to be tough to beat, but Daniel Falkingham is going to be right there as well. It's going to be an amazing night of racing. And don't you forget about Justin Fuller as well. He can easily throw a wrench into that mix.
Oh, yeah. You've got 4 drivers, and again, unofficial right now, Trey Edson, Ryan Howard, Daniel Falkingham, and Justin Fuller. Again, 3 teammates, but the lone horse, and Trey mentioned it right there, Ryan Howard. 1 win this season was the 1 win that really counted for him. He would love to put in 1 more win, which would be next week, to put him in a championship. Ryan Howard could mess up that dream of that team next week. So tune in next week, folks. Season finale here to Kick-Ass Beef Jerky. Going to be interesting. We're crowning a champ. For myself and everybody here, everyone, have a good night.
If I bleed tonight, if I am sad tonight.